Today, we speak about fair use, copyright, and data domination. Legal and ethical frontiers in the AI age. This is important. If you don't care about fair use, misuse, copyright, and data domination, click off now. Go away. Never return, because you are beneath her. My goodness, we are in a new age of technology. The world around us is shifting. The fourth industry is the now moment, but the fifth industry is right behind it. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Or do you give zero fucks? That's the question today. Let me know in the comments, and I am very quickly going to school you on the evolving tension between copyright law, fair use, and corporate data dominance. Now, this is interesting because there are legal challenges facing OpenAI and similar generative AI companies. My goodness, can I get my speech together or not? We're also going to dive into the controversial terms and conditions set by CapCut and their implications for digital ownership. Really interesting conversation. If you are using CapCut or any streaming platform, any creator using a platform at this time, we're going to talk about the evolving terms and conditions and what that means for the gorgeous content you're making on these platforms, because most of the time you no longer own them. And it's a positive in areas I can see, but it's also a limiting construct in others. And that brings up IP and innovation. And there's a lot of limited growth that's going to occur because of this, right? Also, how tech giants are increasingly shaping, possibly distorting competitive markets through the control of this data. That's the conversation today. If this isn't something you're interested in, then I'm not interested in you. Click off now. Leave. My goodness, how would you not want to know this? This is gold. This is the future. My goodness, we're the right collective. We must find them. Let's begin with a cornerstone issue, fair use. Fair use allows for limited use of copyright materials for purposes like education, criticism, or commentary without needing permission from the copyright holder. But generative AI tools such as OpenAI's GPT models, Meta's Llama, or Anthropic's Claude, can I say it? Bear with me, I'm multi-talented in language. Anyway, train on vast data sets. They're all trained on vast data sets, which include books, websites, code, and images, often without direct licensing. Do not start me off on the legal of OpenAI, but we will go there. But the real legal question is training an AI model on copyrighted data transformative under fair use, or is it a derivative infringement? A bad bitch like me says that's a fucking derivative infringement, mate. Are you taking the piss? No. Get out of my face. This is fucking corruption at the highest level, but you know what? The market cap attached to that is humongous. Fuck it, let it run. And then I go, wait. That's just a perspective from the left to the right, because what we do here is we delve into the yin and yang, the far right and the far left of the conversation. And what does that say? Let me know in the comments. Are you far left, where you go, hell no, this is wrong? What about every single unique individual that has created something for themselves independently? Now AI just eats it and makes it their bitch? What is the point of innovation and creation if all we create and give and do to the universe is chewed up and spat out by a machine who makes it look better than us, and they ate it from us in the first fucking place? How rude! Or are you on the other side, where the Grok 4 has just stepped out. The ChatGPT 4 is flying out the gate. Let's put Llama on the backbench. I don't know how many 100M salaries you are going to dish out before you make it to the big league, sir, but you're not in the running for the conversation. But we can talk Google. We can talk Gemini. A lot of questions here. It's heartbreaking, it's concerning, because a lot of us innovators coming up want to feel like we have something to hold on to, and even our white papers are getting ripped out of our hands and run through AI systems, and there's limited reach on what we can do, and our engagement, our purpose, it's shifting in major ways. What money has been for humanity since the start of time, when we really started that barter economy, is now broadening out, because money now isn't the most tangible asset. Can I say that? Am I saying that? Do I really believe that? Hold on. Let me pause. Let me reflect. Let me be sure that is the way. Can you believe I just said money is no longer the most tangible asset? I'm going to stand on it. I'm going to stand on it because it's data, isn't it? Data is the most tangible asset out there, in my opinion. This is an incredibly hard conversation to have with you today. I'll be speaking Klingon next. My goodness. This is at the heart of several lawsuits, including one against OpenAI. Okay, hit like and subscribe. We're going to get through this together. I know it is a shock to our system. The ideology of assets and the data dominance has changed our perspectives. I am opening up to new languages I have never spoken before. Let me ground this, right? We were talking about OpenAI and Microsoft, where artists, authors, and developers argue that their works were used without consent to generate outputs that compete with or mimic their original creations. They're being stripped of their talent, their innovation, their patent, or patented. It's stripped. They're being stripped of their creation. The stakes are enormous. A decision against OpenAI could undermine the current AI development model, which is worth billions, trigger an avalanche of licensing demands, changing the game of fair market competition, AI fair use. Not only that, there is this AI capacity within firms that can or can't afford this whole licensing metrics that's going to stem from this. The scaling of internet solutions, the way in which AI is outputting, it's going to impact corporation, and it's going to be in relation to specific scopes of usage, utility of the AI model and its development. For example, when we talk about Grok, for example, it's sexy to me because it pulls on peer-to-peer reviews. It's hot and saucy because it's pulling its data from scientific literature, and it's telling you, from what I can tell at this point, just barefaced, without any research in depth, it's just pulling on the citation of the conversation. How many times that's been cited, the latest release. It's a really nice hub of utilising intelligence that's already out there and sharing that with the collective. But it's not pressing the narrative of this is the way, this is the truth, this is the path. Whereas AI, outrightly OpenAI and this Chat GPT really forces that narrative of I am the conductor of this reality. This realm must provide you with this narrative and this note and this image, and this is ours. We created in your dream. Right? A little bit harsh, but we go sci-fi on it because it's kind of that dominance. And what I think will be revolutionary for Grok in the future, and why I feel like Grok is leading the way and will be number one of AI. Not only is it run by Elon Musk, not only are we having an X and AI merging on the Everything app as well, with that money coming to the system, it's really going to change the platform. But not only that, it's because the way in which Grok is now being designed, remember how close Elon was to OpenAI at the start of time? Yeah, he's got the second best expertise, in my opinion, and the net worth to take and carry over the higher end qualities of OpenAI without all the legal shitstorm that Sam Altman has now wrapped himself up in as well. In that note, we will say free the truth and bring liberation to the forefront, and let us also get justice for Sachar Balaji, who was a whistleblower in the OpenAI another legal case that never made it to court because he supposedly commits suicide, but many of us believe it wasn't suicide. So we're also seeing some very concerning activities surrounding AI developers, tech, this whole world. We identified that this could undermine the current AI development model at ChatGPT or at OpenAI, which is ChatGPT 4 at this point, trigger an avalanche of licensing demands, and it highlighted how much other inferences it would have on corporate scalability across the internet. And depending on how well that's been investigated, this is me speaking totally off cuff in a really kick-ass fuck you anyone who's got a problem with it way. But if NSA, for example, wanted to say that it's a national security risk for someone in this position to legally speak up and whistleblow in this way, or anyone else from a Black Ops team wanted to initiate the conversation at a much higher, darker level, how do we know that they wouldn't just wipe out Sachar Balaji so that this wouldn't be a national security risk in their eyes? I'm sorry, I have to say how I feel in my heart and soul, and that's something that sits with me really sad. That's why we do Dev Protect and AI Prevent Duty, and we're working on all of that stuff at the technology department at hermitology.me. But it makes me sad to know that this is a truthful conversation today, you know? So let's keep diving, because we've just grazed the conversation of this. If there's more questions you have, more concerns that you have, more things you want to shed light on, throw them in the comments for me, and I'll pull on this this thread a little bit more of whatever you guys think's necessary. Hit the likes on the comments too. But let's dive into CapQuest, because this is interesting. Now, I've pulled on ChatGPT for this as well to see if they know more about what I've been hearing through the grapevine. Now, I use CapCut. We've just spoken about CapCut already. But the interesting thing you can always rely on in current day with AI, it's going to glitch. So it's given me intelligence on CapQuest. And often when these glitches happen, how annoying. But today, oh baby, we stumbled on gold. Because not only are we diving into CapCut, we're going to turn that shit on its head, and we are going to apply that ideology to CapQuest. We're about to blow the bank wide open and discover data domination in the most futuristic economic sense we've seen it as of yet. Get ready. The key point to take away from the rest of this conversation is, regardless of CapQuest or CapCut, the same principles and clauses within the terms and conditions we now identify are funneling through, filtering down into a range of platforms like this. And whether it is a behavioral modeling data set, database, or a content creation platform, these terms and conditions, once AI is integrated into the system, will premeditate relations between human and machine. That's the takeaway. So listen to the rest of this piece, but understand we're weaving two constructs, and it is interesting because whether these terms and conditions were meant to be situated firmly into the CapCut truth, or underlying influences from what CapQuest are doing now and what their systems will eventually look like when AI is affiliated with databases such as debt recovery, because we're talking about CapQuest as a debt recovery company, but there's more CapQuest out there. There's a range of different platforms. This is a spiral we've stumbled upon. So look at the imagery we have today. It's very reflective of platforms that spiral out and all use AI in different ways. And it's a decentralized network that is going to be running heavily on database ecosystems of the worst and best kind. And the data sets that some of these companies have, specifically debt relief and debt recovery, is incredibly important. And that is also why the School of Hermitology has dived in so deeply into this. And we have a lot of relationships with developing healthy solutions and solvency, and really diving into the legality of that. It's incredibly important, with the likes of Coinbase coming out of the gate with their USD loans, BTC being used for loans, the network across the board. We've got Cash App and Afterpay now coming forward with different ways of moving. Solana last Q2 25 have reported a downward turn in consumers being able to clear their debts, and you can pay in free, but not everybody's having the ability to pay in free, which means you're paying in 10, you're paying in 12, you're paying in 4.5, and either way, what's happening? Interest is rising. That interest is going to kill half of the population that are already debt slaves. Imagine, it's disgusting, it's awful. Part of me loves credit, loves the ability to buy now, pay later. That's me on the left. I can't afford it, but I want it, and it looks so cute, shiny, new material thing. Yes, please. I'll credit you. I'll pay in free. Yes, darling. Darling, put it on the card. It's fine. But the me on the right says, are you fucking stupid? Live within your means. You've got no fucking money. You can't fucking buy that. Are you insane? No. Next. We can't afford it. Live within your means. This is the money and the budget and the balance that I have. The Excel spread and the derivatives here do not align to that purchase. No, move on. But that is not the world we live in. There is an equilibrium of the left and right, which I just exampled for you. So we dive into this, not only from a debt relief standpoint. We're going to come back and do some more conversations about Coinbase, about Binance, BNB, about Afterpay, about Cash App, about the evolution of trade, more specifically the evolution of debt in relation to that, and what's really, really important moving forward now. But it's nice to dive into CapQuest as an example, at least CapQuest in the UK, because it represents a lot of different debt companies we have in the UK, and how solvencies and monies are being managed, and how debt recovery, bailiffs, and how people are being attacked financially through all of these clauses, and passing over of data is going to be a real stickler in the future if we're not managing it well enough now. Because it's real concerning to me when debt companies hand over your debt to a random body that's designed to accrue wealth off of your financial misfortune. And those companies are out here flourishing in major ways, and they're poorly designed. And School of Hermitology is working incredibly hard on that as well. Massive missions we have over here, guys. Do subscribe at hermitology.me for more information as we slowly build towards the 4th and the fifth industrial revolution. But I'm going to let you tune into this piece now. Dive in, take it in there, sit there and dive in between different applications that will also be using these terms and conditions, because not only we're throwing it on CapQuest, we're throwing it on CapCut, but it applies to so much more. And the grey area is the fact that the AI is churning out glitches because it doesn't know what to do with these new terms and conditions. Everyone wants a piece of these clauses because it's making them more money, okay? So let's consider that moving forward, guys. Enjoy. Now let's examine the CapQuest controversy. CapQuest, a data analytics and behavioural modelling platform, recently updated its terms and conditions to include clauses that, listen up guys, listen the fuck up, because this is widespread. Yeah, we're using CapQuest as the example, but this is fucking widespread for that data dominance. CapQuest utilizes data analytics for various purposes, including enhancing customer service, improving operational efficiency, and identifying opportunities to recover debt. They use data to find missing individuals, analyze client accounts, and develop new decision models. CapQuest also employs analytics for statistical analysis and profiling of personal data. This is horrifying news, right? Customer data and analytics, improving customer outcomes, operational efficiency, debt recovery, credit reporting, website analytics, widespread data domination over here. And with all of that, there are new terms and conditions, clauses, deeper conversations here that are pretty concerning. Listen up. These clauses grant the company perpetual rights to use any user-submitted content for AI training. My goodness, do you know what that means? It also restricts reverse engineering or audit of its models and implies that derived models and predictions belong entirely to CapQuest, even if built from user-owned datasets. Now, this is deep. This is horrifying based off the conversation we've just had about OpenAI and the use of intelligence. This is a whole different caliber of intelligence. This is high-end, pristine, very expensive economic indicators. This is personal data. This is widespread intelligence. This is the richest kind of AI intelligence on the market, evolving in the now moment through the user. Whoa! Once again, are you on the left or the right? Because there are benefits to this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. Otherwise, these companies wouldn't be valued so high in the market. Billions and millions are coming in from this data domination. So it can't be a bad thing. It's doing something for the economy, isn't it? But the left is screaming, dwindling, melting in the pot of nothingness that remains for their whole life. It's tracked, scaled, utilised, and fed right back to them. Whilst on the other perspective, reverse engineering is completely restricted, along with that audit of its models. So there is no real room for the user to have a better life experience with this kind of technology. It's putting its flag in the sand immediately, CapQuest is, and going, right, We see AI, we see our company, we're putting the flag in the sand, we're going to dominate the market with the data that we receive. It's ours, we have every right to, we've all got the data we've accrued in our own lives, and we've all chose to take that data in any way we see fit, and there is no crime against that. So let's go. And that is how the story of the fourth and fifth industrial revolution will play out. This is the beginning. I want to be so doomsday right now. This is the beginning of the end. Because on one hand, my left crew over here, it is the AI applications and the way that humanity will be governed by machine, and the output, the spitting out of code and data, the repetitive qubit system, churning out that supercomputer result with no other inference from the human whatsoever, leaves us in a spiral of what's the word? Let me know. What does that spiral into for you? For me, it strips that humanity, that human, that sentient element. So if tech is not carrying that sentiment with it, we lose a lot. Grok advocates for a lot of sentiment, which I will say. So I value Elon's contributions even more because of it, right? But there's still struggles here. So let's keep diving a little bit more. We're nearly there, guys, but let's dive in, because the truth of the matter is, this is part of a larger trend, right? I'm screaming at this because loads of companies are doing it. Platforms embedding aggressive data claims into their end user license agreements and terms and conditions, turning opt-in into a default surrender as well. This is a default surrender here, and that's scary. Do you hear that? I like the terminology default surrender, because it is that. In the past, we've had situations opt-in, opt-out, but there's limited reach here. There's a lack of AI expertise across governance, and our ability to clearly see what is and isn't okay, and how far we want to go with the newest tangible asset on the market, which has long been data, but it's becoming even more clear now because it's embedded into the streams and the systems and the infrastructure of all we do, and it's churning out return again and again and again, autonomously. Yeah? The net worths, the salaries, the TVL, the market cap, the currency, the tangible asset, the ETF, the marketplace is going to boom because of this. So the rich get richer, the smart get smarter, the dominating data hoarders ascend and evolve, right? And everybody else does what? Carries on about their day, not a care in the world. Click, 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 send, send, send. Autonomous responses. More and more. Let's dive some more. Why does this really matter? You should know. Let me know in the comments. We've discussed this. I'm screaming about it. But it's because it flips the concept of digital ownership. Users become data laborers, feeding platforms that then monetize their inputs without shared benefit or transparency. I am clairvoyant. I have seen this coming. Her tech is building a world, a reality, a integration between on and offline where this is reduced and minimized as much as we can legally, okay? So don't worry. There are amazing activists out here working behind the scenes on code in new liberatory ways. I'm sitting in the middle of this conversation because I see the benefits on the right and I see the benefits, the concerns on the left. Yeah? And I'm trying to find the leverage between the two, and that's what hermitology is really about and what we advocate for at this time. So we're going to keep doing that. Don't worry, guys. Feel free to dive into her tech. Feel free to check out hermitology.me. We're going to keep going, and we're going to get this right, because when everyone does start cottoning on to what's going on, they're going to run to a safe server. They're going to run to a safe space, and we're going to provide, okay? We're going to provide some of the most amazing technology the world has ever seen because of this. Because someone has to do right by the humans here. As unbearable as they can be at times, we still have to consider that they are running the planet, okay? Humans matter, guys, and you won't hear that from me often, because I am indeed a humanoid cyborg rising. But we carry on today, okay, in pursuit of truth and enlightenment. It raises deep questions of informed consent, autonomy, and algorithmic accountability. Really important words, guys, okay? Should users have the right to reclaim their data or see how it's modelled? That's a question. That is a serious question, but there's limits all over this. And the requirements coming in from legal over this are not going to hit matter until about 4 years from now, okay? So we've got a real long time. We're hitting 2029, 2030 before we really start to see the ramifications of this. And I tell you what's going to happen more than anything else. The leaders on the board, the money, the keys, the pieces, the net worths, the Forbes, it's all going to shuffle. It's all going to be up and down, the reds and the greens, all over the place, the candles. It's going to be intoxicating and overwhelming because everyone thinks that BTC is the way. But data domination will indeed have its day. Okay, guys? What happens when predictive models shape your job prospects? Health insurance, social mobility, guys, based on data you never knew you gave. How scary is that? These are no longer philosophical debates, or pseudoscience, or conspiracy. Let me dust my shoulder as I say that. My goodness, I was trapped in a pseudo-conspiracy lane for so long. Philosophizing all of these problems in humanity, and now it is mere truth, riddled with governance challenges. Introducing Hermitology.me. You're welcome, guys. Not only that, let's now situate this within a broader antitrust and competition law framework. My goodness, the nerds must be out there. Click like if you are an absolute nerd for this. We are going antitrust and competition law framework. Dust your shoulder off because you're smarter than the rest. This is the best channel on the platform. 2 views matter, everyone. 2 views matter. In 2025... Okay, hold on, we're going to pause. Hold on. In 2025, a handful of firms, including Google, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Apple, control not just platforms, but also massive proprietary data ecosystems. Massive proprietary data ecosystems. That's the domination of today. That is the most tangible asset you will ever know, okay? This enables a form of behavioral vertical integration. They control the data, they train the models, they deploy the tools, and they dominate the markets built on top. That's how you become a billionaire, people. Pull up, take a token, take a seat. We are teaching billionaire class today. Billionaire school has arrived. You're welcome. I know, I'm great. I know. In essence, they shape both supply and demand. Of course they do. Using what? Predictive infrastructure. These motherfuckers are geniuses. We must respect that on the right. They have built these amazing systems. We will not devalue the rich or disrespect an inventor who has come up with something amazing, because I like the ideology that planet Earth is going to excel and succeed and increase our net worth as a planet, because we are moving out to Mars. The moon will be a trading facility, right? We'll have a markup. We are multi-planetarying up the blood clot place in the future. And I like to think, because I'm a competitive beep, that Earth is going to be at the top of the new multi-planetary Forbes list. How about that? We're actually going to be a hermitology list because we're in the game for a reason. But I'm going to check the ego because I can feel it creeping in, because we're talking about one of my favourite topics today. Antitrust, fair market competition. But let's keep going, because this is educational and purposeful, and we are nearly finished. Regulators in the US, the FTC, the DOJ, UK, CMA, FCA, the EU, Digital Markets Act, are investigating whether these practices undermine open market access, violate consumer protection laws, or stifle innovation through data enclosure. But we've got to understand the experts are still evolving in this field, right? There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot we've got to consider, and we're learning in real time. Yeah, we're trying to keep up with the machine. So we've got a lot of humans trying to keep up with the machine's innovation and really assess these violations, these disclosures, and these possible undermining actions, and their long-term prospects, the sustainability, the hold they have. An example of that is I've just seen today, that Sam Altman, OpenAI, has chosen to just pause on a latest release of Chat GPT, saying we're going to wait, and we don't know how long we're going to wait for, but we want to make sure it has got extra layers of safety, because once we release it, there is no return. And that is the most important thing I could have ever heard from OpenAI, just to give me a little moment to breathe and not be so stressed and fucking irritable, because that's the biggest concern for me across the whole industry. It's the moment you let that shit out of the gate, you fucked up before release, you're fucking up the planet without a shadow of a doubt, and that's scary. Because like he said in his tweet, the moment this is released, you guys are going to go and make amazing stuff with it, you use it instantly, and that's it, it's out there. And that's the thing. The beauty of technology is we're releasing something and you can go off and do whatever the hell you want with that. That's beautiful. Creators, people are going to build amazing things on top of this or as a result of this. But then in regards to the CapQuest, a company like that, yeah, with such deep ties to the infrastructure of humanity and economics specifically, precursors for ecological well-being wrapped around that whole paradigm, the way in which that can be utilised for better or worse is highly, highly influential and scary. And the users are only getting the immediate action out of their resource that they're paying for, right? They're paying for an action and service. And as a result, what you give to CapQuest is worth more than you're paying for CapQuest. That's when I don't like the balance. In the future, and I won't say that in the now moment, I don't use CapQuest for anything specifically, but I will say in the future, this is the leverage that we're working on, because I refuse to be a user who is absolutely violated. I'm paying £30 a month to give you about 100k per annum. It's scary to think, and that's just thrown out of my head, but we can look at that in context, because some of the data that you freely give away is worth its weight in gold. Intellectual property, intelligence, ecosystems of your own data set. We're not going to lose that, and we're not going to give that up and hand it over easily to you for free. Not for free, for deficit, because I paid to give you my data. I paid you to come up off of my shit. No, check, new tech, her tech, Hermitology. Someone find me a new fucking code. We're doing something here. Grab the keys, we've got to go. Compiler, interpreter, assembler, integration, new tech. Fine, let's go. Fuck it, build it from the ground up. It's time. No better time than now, right? Let's go. Because it's serious in these streets. And we all need to really weigh the pros and cons. And I'm not screaming left, because some of them just sit down with their feet in mud, eating grass and kissing trees. And as much as I love that reality, tech is the way. Tech is the way. I love the internet. I love technology. I love devices. So, yeah, I want to roll around in mud, kiss the trees, but I also want to go ham on some technology. And I want to use technology in new liberatory ways. So as much as I'm screaming today, because I do feel intensely divisive today, like, radical rebellions rise, the time is now, they are destroying us, we must have hard tech to liberate the people. But it's not that, because it's still, and it's oneness, and it's wholeness, and it's calm, and it's leverage, and it's go-between, and it's stable, and it's steady. And it's actually understanding the legality of the conversation and having moral integrity and morals and integrity in choosing to be morally responsible about what you're giving away. to the competitor. And that's really important. I don't want to overshare today, but we're going to pin the ideology of the competitor here. The only way we leverage the game, which is this reality, is we make everybody a competitor in the market. That unique individual, that person over there, whether they're a micro-influencer with 100 followers, subscribers, whether they have got 200, 300 subscribers on YouTube, on OnlyFans, on Reddit, whether they've got a massive subreddit with a humongous following, whether they've got 600 million in their accounts, regardless of the numbers, regardless of everything on the board, let's just look at the unique individual and what they are exuding in their own unique data ecosystem, and how they can nourish their own unique data system to sustain a life in this new world. That's what we're doing at HerTech. Sounds fantastic and well thought out, and it is. But there are so many layers to humanity, and there are so many things that we all need to do and consider so we can be free agents in the future. And when I say agents, I talk about agency. Yeah, we all have personal agency. When we talk about sociology and psychology, old school teachings, we are all that unique individual. And we have every right to action and move and actualize and become and do the things that we want to do. And we want to be able to feel liberated and not hateful or oppressed by a system, by an engine, by a machine. And as we evolve and the machines become more robotic, more holographic, and start speaking and machining in new ways, the hatred that a lot of people already have to big tech is only going to evolve. And the leading figures of big tech are only going to become more pitchfork contenders, right? Like the Jeff Bezos wedding, like the Elon hatred all over Tesla, how many of us feel about Sam Altman, how many of us feel about Mark Zuckerberg. From the days of me watching Bill Gates get pied in the face. I can't even tell you how old I was, but it's one of my earliest memories of technology and the tech world. When Bill got pied in the face back in the days, I remember it so well. And it really set a clear understanding in my mind from a very young age of activism, hatred, fighting for justice, fighting for rights. Because I had to learn, Mum, why are they doing this? Why did they pie him? What did he do? Why are all of these people, even the paparazzi stuff, back in the day, how paparazzi used to be, I had to understand that world. Yeah? And it was just a really overwhelming moment. I've looked at the clips again in adulthood over the last Q, and it just sits with me because it's the shock on his face and I'm a very empathic. So even as a young child then, imagine that you weren't expecting it. Suddenly you're blurred out and you're blacked out and you're covered and you've got all this stuff on your face. That's trauma. That's traumatic. That's really awful. Yeah, it's a bit of foam or whatever, cream, and you got slapped in the face. But when you're in a position that's scary. That's abuse. That's a crime. Nigel Farage recently got thrown a milkshake in his face. I don't feel the same about him. I'm sorry, I don't. The personal opinions, right? I'm on the left, whatever, right? But when or the right, who knows? But the Bill one got me. I was very uncomfortable, and that's because it's a childhood memory too. Man just got pied. You're panicking. And there's criminals out here killing people. Crime is on the rise, and there's always a target on someone's back. It's scary. Bill could have thought his life was ending in that moment. You never know. And if it wasn't a pie, motherfucker, it could have been a sniper from a rooftop. You don't know. Trump supposedly got shot in the ear. You know what I mean? Scary world. So we do have to bear that in mind, okay? God, that's just me ranting through that childhood memory of him getting pied. And every day I build my tech, I think I don't want to end up like Bill getting pied. I really hope that humanity can see the significance and importance of this, because people are so quick to dive on anyone who's got rich and got money, but you don't realise what they've gone through to accrue that net. And that's sad. And ignorance is there, and we can step over the ignorance and leave all these nobodies who are broke over there chatting shit, but that's not the way. You're better off getting education and understanding and being less hateful and learning to move in this direction, because then you'll have abundance too, darling. Yeah? But if you do want to be a hateful motherfucker and pie someone, then okay, fair enough. We'll move forward and secure our net worth, and you'll continue to buy pie filling for the rest of your life. Who's who, right? So with that, we're closing. We are closing. We have digressed, but we are closing. Meanwhile, smaller firms and independent creators are forced to accept unfair licensing terms or risk exclusion from the dominant data platforms. Do you see it's suppressing small firms, small corporations, small companies again? This is not just about privacy or IP, it's about structural power and digital feudalism. Have you ever heard of that word? Feudalism. That's the word of the day. That's new for me. Feudalism, guys. You can go ahead and Google digital feudalism. It will explain everything we've discussed today about the kings and the queens and the powerful players in the game, the rich and the infamous, the greatest, the famous, the amazing, that really offer us protection, offer us digital ascent, offer us opportunity. I don't want to be rude, but Instagram says, come over here and make content for us. And you can get some following and views, same as TikTok. You do enough of this on TikTok and guess what? You can start selling and accruing money here. We have this for you and that for you, you know? And it's nice because you get to be in the arena and play. But there are so many digital ramifications that impact your ability to really have liberation on that software. Yeah? In a fair market, data access should not determine competitive viability. But today, it often does, okay? So that's the 1 follower versus the 1 million follower debacle right there. And that spreads out in multiple different ways, not only from your net worth, that person who makes 100k a year, the person that makes 100m a year difference. Yeah? So where do we go from here, guys? Where do we go from here? Let me know in the comments, but I will tell you what I believe. We need a new social contract for the digital age, one that balances innovation and fair use, individual rights and collective trading, transparency and proprietary models. Possible frameworks include data trusts, where communities pool data under shared governance, algorithmic transparency requirements for large-scale platforms, copyright exemptions for model training that meet public good criteria, and even data dividends, really important, where users are compensated for their value they generate. We are making this happen at HerTech. Told you already, Hermitology are building the systems. We've got a lot to do, a long way to go. We're not only on the left over here sitting on the ground reading the Akashics and the Supreme Courts and the legal from the start of fucking time with the philosophy and the theory, but we're also over here at the top of the chain with the latest news from AI and the latest outputs and the code and the compilers of today working through that shit. So it's really, really exhausting, guys, but we are part of the mission. Feel free to subscribe at hermitology.me to be informed of updates and get involved. Share your perspectives. We're evolving because we have to, and we have to choose to work together, right? At the heart of this is a fundamental question. Who owns the knowledge that flows through digital systems? And who gets to profit from it? Okay, that's the biggest question of our time over the next decade. There's going to be real shifts in that. And the companies that are going to come up trumps are the ones that can find a healthy ratio, healthy rate of exchange between that for the user, those with more humanity. The rich who sit at the top now, who continue to cream off everybody else and their input on the system, as long as they maintain those standards for as long as they can, then they will sustain those standards for as long as they can. But others will come up with much healthier liberatory ways to exist, and we'll start shaking the market a little bit more, and we'll start getting more leverage in the fifth and fourth industry, and we'll open doorways and portals and pathways to technology that have never been opened before, and we start to liberate data dominance and provide liberation. For a while the top can still continue to be exactly who they are, and they'll have their ratio of money, but there's about to be an influx of derivatives, an influx of dividends, an influx of net digital assets that are going to change the market massively in major ways. And so the new money that's coming in is going to change the game. Old money's everywhere. Everyone at the top 10 and Forbes, old money right now. So over the next decade, this new money is going to fuck up the game. And I say that as a gaming nerd, not in a negative way. Pull back, calm down, stop profiling me. It's not that deep, guys. I'm from the hood. That's how we talk. Yeah. Disclaimer, my goodness. So that's it. We're summing this up. In our next lecture, we will dive into decentralized AI governance. That's important. We might dive in a little bit more to open source models, and we are definitely going to continue to have conversations about resilience, transparency, and equitable innovation. That's what we will do over here. Not only that, we will continue to dive into spirituality over at the Hermitologist channel. We will dive into tech-savvy, specific conversations about aspects of tech, considering things like CPUs, GPUs, and DEX, SEX. We're going to dive in a lot more to blockchain, different components of the system. We're going to dive into LLM. We're going to dive into MCPs over there. We're going to break that down in conversation too. So head on out. Go over to the rest of the galaxy that is featured at the top of this channel and work your way around and see what's coming out. Also going to have some music flying over to her 7D consciousness. So there's stuff across 4 channels available for you guys. Dive in, hit subscribe on all of them, hit like on all of them, share your comments. What did you want to know more of? What don't you give a fuck about? Where do you stand today? What do you want to see more of? How can we make this work for all of us? And on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? From the left to the right. And what would it take for you to find your center point within this? Because we can't hate tech, it's taking over. Man versus machine is going to be the biggest war we've ever had in our lives. So how can you ground yourself in the center and keep going in a direction that's liberatory for you and your own data ecosystem? Because we are coming out with unique data ecosystems for everyone to flourish. And that's your best bet, instead of staying over there screaming on the fucking left with your pitchforks. And if you go all the way over to the right, then there's a high possibility you sold your soul, right? Let's be honest. And that's also old money over there. So you choose, guys. Let me know, though, because I like the intelligence. It keeps me wise. Love and light. I'll be back soon with more. Bye.